However, I have chosen this part of the battlefield where you're going to be tomorrow morning at 5 in the morning because it roughly resembles another field down there. Jack Chambers' farm, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's the Jack Chambers farm, about 2 miles out there near what's called Fallen Timbers. And that is where a battle occurred on the 4th of April. General Johnston with 44,500 men were on the way, and on the 4th of April, a brigade, a regiment of Union infantry engaged him in a battle. This battle did not convince Sherman that the Confederates were coming. So I'm going to briefly talk about Colonel Buckland's battle of April 4th, 1862. On April 4th, Colonel Buckland, whose troops were camped to the west of the road over there by Shiloh, so where we started, the folks that were camped on over by the cemetery and the cannons and like that, Colonel Ralph Buckland's brigade of Ohio troops. Colonel Buckland had taken his troops out of the camp and beyond the picket line to train, to drill out in the fields out there, probably over by the Witta Howell place, I believe. That's over here. And a scouting party, forward pickets, deep pickets you might want to call them, had gone out beyond them, members of the 70th Ohio Regiment. And while they were out there, Buckland heard firing. 1 shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. Pretty soon, he sends someone to check what's going on and finds out that those pickets from the 70th Ohio, 1 officer and about 7 men, I think, are gone. They've been captured. Confederates have come out of the woods and grabbed them and carried them off. Who? We don't know. Cavalry. As Johnston moves across the landscape, he's got cavalry, clouds of cavalry, covering his front. Their job is to prevent anybody from General Sherman getting through their line, getting through their positions to see the 44,500 coming behind. So now Colonel Buckland has a problem. The first problem, he has men in the hands of the enemy. He intends to get them back if he can. So he pursues. He starts heading out about 2 miles from where he is in his training ground, and he gets to a field that looks a little like this one. Imagine this is that one. And he starts heading for the far end of the field, that end of the field. He asks one of his companies, Company B of the 72nd, to head through that end of the field, into those woods, and see if they can recapture the men or find the Confederates there. Company B heads straight into those woods, and Colonel Buckland heads straight out that way. Very soon, firing from the area that Company B went. Colonel Buckland has already ridden back by this time. He also needs to send word back to General Sherman. We got problems out here. We got problems out here. In charge over here, Major Leroy Crockett. Major Crockett takes Company H. Instead of coming through the field to go help Company B, he heads through the woods, and pretty soon, pow, Company H walks right into an ambush. They're in the woods. They don't see who's shooting at them, really. Confederates hidden in those woods. Suddenly they're shooting. Company H comes retreating back through the forest and into the field without Major Crockett, who is now a prisoner in the hands of the Confederates. Several other men, too. At this point, Colonel Buckland sends back for the rest of his brigade, wants them all to come out and help, and he takes 3 companies of the 72nd Ohio, which are now back in the field like around here, and heads not through the woods, but in the V, going to help. On the way, the battle stops. An enormous, black, lowering thunderstorm breaks upon the entire landscape. Too much rain to fight. Lightning, blowing rain. The men said it was one of the worst storms they'd ever been in, not just in a battle. And so they hunkered down and they stopped. Everything stopped for about for about 30 minutes or an hour. Finally the rain stopped. Colonel Buckland gets his men back up. They fix bayonets, they form a line, and they charge into the woods after Company B. They can still hear firing in the woods. They catch the Confederates who've surrounded Company B. They catch them from behind. They chase them away. They take 9 prisoners, some of whom are wounded. Company B has formed a square, like you would on the battlefield of Waterloo in 1815. They were defending that perimeter. They held out. They got rescued. Colonel Buckland finally brings everybody back. He won the battle. He picked up prisoners. He rides out here, all pretty full of himself, pretty happy with himself. Meets his boss coming up the same way. General Sherman does not take a like view of the situation. General Sherman is under orders not to bring on a general engagement, not to go beyond the pickets, not to find the Confederates and start a battle. General Grant's army is waiting for General Buell to march from Nashville and join them. We will only attack after we march from Nashville. Those orders are from Halleck in St. Louis, right from the top. Buckland has violated Sherman's orders, and he's made Sherman violate Grant's orders. He's made Grant violate Halleck's orders. In the Army, I don't know which way trouble goes. Has anybody here been in the Army? Boom, boom, boom. So Colonel Buckland finds out, much to his dismay, that he has nothing to be happy about and nothing to be proud about. He gets lectured, he gets sent back to his camp, and the Confederates and the Union forces go back to their camp with the Colonel Buckland chastised and General Sherman none the wiser about what's beyond his picket line, even though he's fought a battle with the approaching Confederate army.
And that was on the 4th?
That was on the 4th. Next stop, straight across through that field, there's the second rise is a pretty bad creek. There's a bridge to the right. I'm headed for that.